Where there is light, there too is shadow. Where righteousness lives, evil inevitably lurks in the darkness. The darkness is the home for this type, the dark type. Hey guys, it's Elogee. I'm here for day 8 of the 12 days of Pokemon types. I'm joined by Pockety.
Hello everyone.
And yeah, today we'll be going over the dark type. I went first last time, so Pockety, why don't you go first? Who is your favorite dark type Pokemon?
Alright, well, I will start us off then. So it was kind of tough decision, but I ended up with Mega Gyarados. I mean, I like regular Gyarados too, but Mega Gyarados is just really cool. I like that at first, the very initial reaction to, oh, Mega Evolution, Gyarados is getting a Mega. At first, I will admit I was not pleased to find out its Mega was not part Dragon type, because it was supposed to always be Dragon type in everyone's mind. But then I started using it and I really liked it. I like that it loses the 4-time weakness to Electric, and that, it has always, had Bite and then Crunch when that became a move. And Gyarados is just always really cool, but then, Mega Gyarados, just the beast. And to be able to come out, get the Intimidate to force the switch, then Dragon Dance, and then just beat everyone. Like I said, it was a tough decision because I do like a lot of different dark types, but Mega Gyarados definitely did it for me. So what do you think of Mega Gyarados?
Well, I definitely did not expect that was your favorite dark type. I didn't even know you mentioned you liked Mega Gyarados, but I didn't know it was your favorite dark type, but that's cool. Like I mentioned, I prefer regular Gyarados, but Mega Gyarados definitely, amazing too. Like you said, get off that Intimidate pre-Mega, then you Mega Evolve, get off that Dragon Dance, and you have Mold Breaker. Mold Breaker, so you can, smash through anything, because Mega Gyarados is way too strong. It's good, but I prefer regular Gyarados, so yeah.
I also like regular Gyarados, but that is not a dark type.
Okay.
Who is your favorite dark type?
My favorite dark type, I had a few I had to narrow down, but ultimately went with Hydreigon, who I was expecting to be your favorite dark type, just because I know you like it, but I've only recently started liking it. I don't think I ever used it prior to Gen 7 competitively. I know I didn't use it in-game ever, just because it evolves so late and it's very...
Evolves at level 95.
Yeah, it's very not in-game friendly, but... I don't think I used it competitively till Gen 7, and by then I really liked it. You're able to go mixed. You infamously used a physical set and blew me back with it one time. I'd rather forget those memories, but it can happen. Be mixed. Got strong Dragon and Dark Stab too, though. All the coverage, Roost Defog. It's just very, very good competitively. I just like it. How do you feel about it?
Well, I do need to make a correction there. So you can roll the tapes. It was not just a physical set that I used to blow you back, but no, it was a max bulk fat set that did I take not a Draco Meteor, but I took...
No, you were a physically
Dragon
defensive
Ball
one. Yeah, you took a Dragon Claw from a Mega Sceptile, I think.
Yes, that is what it was. I took that, and then you just jumped off a cliff or something. But no, Hydreigon, it's a dragon, and therefore is cool. It has Levitate, which is also really cool. That 98 speed is weird. Obviously, I would wish it was more, because I wish every mon has more speed. Yeah, Hydreigon's really cool. I've used it since early days. Obviously never in-game, because in-game doesn't go through level 95. But I have used it post-game and then competitively, and I've always enjoyed it. It has... heads on its arms, so what else can you ask for?
Fact. Okay, so how about your honorable mentions for the dark type?
Honorable mentions that were not just mentioned. I have 2 others. Guzzlord, who I have tried to use. I want it to be cool. I want it to be good. It is a struggle, but I continue to try because I think it's really cool and I like the idea. And it is the same type as Hydreigon, but another awesome ability. And then my other one is Hoopa Unbound, also known by me as Hoopa Demon Mode. That, I've tried using it a couple times, not very much, but mostly I just love that Pokemon movie with both Hoopa forms. And if you haven't watched it, watch that movie because it's like the best Pokemon movie. So shout out to that movie.
Okay, well, I haven't watched the movie, so I should watch the movie.
Yes, you should.
But I have used Hoop Unbound competitively. I had a blast with it Gen 6 before it got banned. Then Gen 7, started using it again and remembered why it got banned. It's very powerful, easy to destroy entire teams with. So yeah, Hoop Unbound, amazing competitively. I never saw the movie, so I don't have a non-competitive connection with it. So that's all I really have to say about Hoopa. As for Guzzlord, all I have to say about it is...
So, on that quiet note, what are your honorable mentions? Who else did you think about for the Dark type?
I had Weavile because back when it came out, I really liked it. I wanted it. This is Gen 4, by the way, when Ty and I didn't IV breed or any of that. We just EV trained good-natured ones. I really liked Swords Dance, Ice Shard, Night Slash, Brick Break. I think that was what I ran. And I always liked its speed and attack, but I never really got it. It never really connected with me. So I was never really able to consider it my favorite Dark type. For the longest time, Tyranitar was actually my favorite, just beating out things like Weavile that I wasn't able to make my favorite, but I couldn't list Tyranitar because I already did that for Rock. But yeah, I liked Weavile. I just have never really been able to solidify it as a favorite, but love using it. It's a very good mon. And then also I have Crawdaunt for actually pretty similar reasons to Weavile. Once it got adaptability, it's just amazing, very strong breaker. It can even set up dragon dances and become a sweeper, so it's a very, very strong Pokemon. Do not underestimate the power of Life Orb Knockoff or Liquidation or Crabhammer. This thing hits like a truck. What do you have to say about those two?
Well, I've always liked both of them. Weavile was difficult not only because you had to. The thing I just remember with all of those mons is never getting them because you only got one of those evolution items on each playthrough and you couldn't buy them, I think.
Oh man.
So you had to after you got one Weavile or one Rhyperior, you had to restart the game. So I never really had Weavile until Gen 6. But Weavile it's a beast. And then Crawdaunt I loved from back in Gen 3. I remember consistently getting one. I think you can catch them with a rod just to the left of the daycare center, and I would use them back then, and I always enjoyed them even back before they were good. And then they just decided hey, we're gonna make this broken ability, and then you being Elogee, are going to fall in love with Lucario, and then we're gonna ban it from you, so you need to find other mons with adaptability, and then you're gonna start liking Crawdaunt.
Okay, nice bit of Elogee lore right there. So yeah,
I believe there is a video somewhere on the depths of YouTube of you freaking out about how they banned Lucario, Mega Lucario, and how that was a terrible decision.
They don't need to hear that. So what else do you have to say about the Dark type?
So the Dark type, it was brought into existence Gen 2 because they needed things to make Psychic not so broken. The combination of that and Steel and some other things kind of went too far on that. But overall, Dark type was, it still wasn't crazy back then because you only had 4 mons: Houndoom, Umbreon, Tyranitar, and Crow. From there the Dark type really grew. Yeah, I like the Dark type a lot. One of my more favorable typings, I think. What about you? What do you think of Dark types?
It's weird, when I think about back then when Dark type came out, I didn't even really think about Dark as a type just because, we said, there were only 4. So I don't really remember even thinking about Dark as a type back then. But thinking about it now, like you mentioned, yeah, there's a lot more, and they're definitely more prominent as a type. Same with moves too. There weren't very many dark type moves either. Yeah, dark, it definitely came more into prominence. I don't know how I feel about the fact that dark is supposed to be the evil type, because they go out of their way to say some of the dark type Pokemon like Absol are just misunderstood and aren't really evil. So what they call Aku, the evil type in the original Japanese, I don't really get it. But if you look at a lot of dark type mons, they do look like the stereotypical thing for what an evil looking Pokemon probably would look like. So I don't really know how I feel about dark as a whole. Like competitive, it's very, very good. After the buff it got, it's no longer resisted by steel. So dark competitively is amazing, offensively at least. Competitively, I love it. Non-competitively, I'm kind of confused by it. So yeah, that's all I really have to say.
What did you say they call the dark type in Japanese?
Aku, evil.
Okay, so Samurai Jack confirmed.
Yeah.
On that note, are we ready to move on to the next type?
I believe we are. So transition mode activate. The mind is a powerful tool. When pushed to new levels through spiritual enlightenment or magical intervention, these beings ascend to levels of understanding that most mortals aren't able to comprehend. I present to you the Psychic type. So for part 2 of this video, we will be going over the Psychic type. I'll go first this time, since Pockety went first last time. So for my favorite Psychic type Pokemon, I went with the classic Mew. Surprisingly, wasn't very hard for me, even though there's a lot of Psychic type. Well, not really a lot of Psychic types, but I guess there's a lot of legendaries, especially earlier ones, and those are the ones that I tend to like. So it's surprising to me that it was this easy for me to decide on a favorite, which was, like I said, Mew. I've just always loved Mew. Mythical in every sense of the word back in the day. No way to get it in game, really, other than glitching, which the glitches we know of now, we did not know of back in the day. So the rumors were crazy, which if you weren't around for the back in the day rumors, you were missing out, let me tell you.
I'm pretty sure that how to find Mew was why Al Gore created the internet.
But yeah, as far as Mew itself, I always loved it. The rivalry with Mewtwo was, like, I always preferred Mew just because it was cooler and like the underdog. It wasn't cool, it was cuter and smaller. It was the underdog. And yeah, I just love cats, and Mew's this cute pink cat that can do anything. Like, it's not even that it's this cute cat from a casual perspective. Like, competitively, Mew is amazing because it can do so much. So it's very, maybe not unpredictable in standard format, but like in a format like draft, Mew can do so much. And I've been playing a lot of draft lately, and Mew is just incredible. Like, the more I experience Mew, the more I see, yeah, this thing is the truth. So yeah, Mew, definitely my favorite Psychic Pokemon. What do you have to say about that?
I am not surprised that you picked Mew. That's one of your mons. Mew it's cool. I think just, you know, because of what it is, I've never used it in game. I've never like really used it in draft league, never really used it competitively, so I don't really have much exposure to it. You know, it's cool. It's cool in the movies and stuff, but it's definitely your thing. It's not my thing. But you know, gotta respect, you know, the first unattainable mon.
Oh yeah, you gotta respect the rumors too. So, who is your favorite?
Oh, that truck.
that truck, yeah. On that note, who is your favorite Psychic type Pokemon?
Alakazam, of course. Everyone knew that was my favorite. There are other cool Psychics, but it's Alakazam. It's always been from Gen 1, where it was also ridiculously broken. But hard to attain because you had to trade, and that meant you had to have a physical friend and a link cable, and both of you had to have Game Boys and games, and you had to have a Kadabra and all of that stuff. But then all you had to do was just click Psychic, 10 times. I mean, it's one of the archetypes of mons that I like, which are very fast and very high special attack, and who cares about the other stats, because it's just kind of murder you before you can do anything to it. And of course it was too broken back then, which is why they had to introduce 2 types just to stop it and kind of Mewtwo, but most. And then, Gen 3 kind of started the power creep a little bit, and some things were also fast, some things could take its hit. There were, more steel types and better steel types, and it didn't have any way to damage them at all. And then the game decided, no, we want Alakazam to still be really good. So they're like, let's add more things. Let's create a fighting move that it can learn that does 120 million damage in Focus Blast. It'll never hit, but in theory it can help you. And then they're like, let's give it all these good abilities, and then this item to just boost its damage that it could do if Focus Blast could ever hit. Oh, and then they're like, yeah, let's give it a Mega too, because it was not fast enough and didn't have enough special attack. It went from 0 spoons to 1 spoon to 2 spoons to all the spoons.
Okay. Do you prefer regular Alakazam to Mega?
I don't know. I prefer both of them to not Alakazams.
Okay. Good answer, I guess. Like you said, it's one of those mons that was hard to get, so like I never used it in game really. I don't think ever, now that I really think about it, I don't think I've ever used Alakazam in game. That's sad, because it like you said, it's amazing. You just click in Psychic and nothing can stop you. I have used it a bit competitively, and it is incredible, both regular and Mega. So not really much to say. Just click Psychic and Focus Blast and hope to hit.
Okay, so now that we have talked about Mew and Alakazam, who are other Psychic types you want to talk about? Who are your honorable mentions?
I only had a few of them, again, which is surprising. Well, I only wrote a few. I can probably list like 30 Psychic types that could be on here, just because, like I said, there are a lot of Psychic mons that I do like, but the 2 that I wrote down are Musharna, who I have used in-game and loved what it did for my team. I used it a bit competitively too, and it's good. It's one of them bulky Psychic types that calm minds and then recovers and sets up and never dies. I think the design is like weird. Something about dreams. It probably made more sense back in 2011 with the whole Entralink thing, that Dream World or whatever they called it, that I was so confused by. So from a non-competitive standpoint, it's confusing, and like I guess that's what makes it cool to me. And then competitively, yeah, Musharna is cool, and I just like the name Musharna because I get to nickname it the Mush, so I like the Mush. And then also, honorable mention, I have Xatu. My first memory of Xatu was Will in the Pokemon Silver Elite Four, just always crushing me with Psychic, because I pulled up with a Golem who got outsped and O-code every time. It wasn't Golem back then, that's why it was still Graveler, because I didn't know how to evolve it. I didn't have Pockety to back me up at that point until I got to level 98. So yeah, that was my like first memory of Xatu. And then there was nothing for a while. Then like tail end of Gen 6, I was like, this thing is good because it has magic bounce and pretty cool move pool. So very strange, I guess, along kind of the similar lines to Musharna, just stranger and has a different role competitively, but I still love it. What do you have to say about those 2?
I would never have guessed you would have said those 2 at all. I forgot Xatu was a mon. I do believe it is a mon, but I can't say that I can think many other things about it. And yeah, as you mentioned, Will has 2 of them, I think. But that's all I know about Xatu, and apparently it is strong enough and fast enough to outspeed an Oko Graveler. Demush. That is a Pat thing. I did use one once in game, and I did not have the same experience as you because I just felt had good moves. I had to wait to evolve it so that it could get good moves, I think. And even then, it was just missing hypnosis, and that was all it did.
Oh,
But I'm glad that you enjoyed it. So I have two honorable mentions. I think both will be very expected. The one is obviously Mewtwo because fast, special attack. Alakazam is the favorite because it is more usable in different formats. But the other favorite is Mewtwo, and it's just the same kind of ideal as Alakazam. They're like, you're the best, and they're like, oh wait, you're too good. Let's introduce things to make you less good and start competing with it. And they're like, we want you to be the best again, so let's keep buffing you. So let's give you signature moves that are overpowered, and then let's give you mega forms that are also overpowered. And yeah, so Mewtwo is awesome, and it has cool movies. The first movie and then the like weird special thing were both cool. Mewtwo and the anime, beating up on Gary Oak is cool because he's a douchebag. And then my other honorable mention for psychic types is Espeon. Again, the fast special attack, but also magic bounce is pretty cool, or synchronize can also be cool too. But I've always liked Espeon. I've used Espeon several times in game, and always fun. Throwing out the Psybeams because it doesn't learn Psychic until like level 67. But the Psybeam is usually enough with its speed and special attack because I somehow I always end up getting EVs that are like modest, and I just decide, yeah, it'll be perfect for an Espeon because I'd never ever use stones to evolve EVs in game for no explained reason at all.
okay. Oh, well, I definitely can see both of those as your honorable mentions. Like I mentioned in my explanation of Mew, I'm Team Mew over Team Mewtwo. I don't think I've ever really used Mewtwo because I don't play those aforementioned formats, and like I said, never really used it in game. I just never really had a connection to Mewtwo, so don't really have much to contribute there. Espeon though, yeah, I definitely like it as well. It's one of my favorite evolutions. Hard to narrow it down, but yeah, I love Espeon as well. Used it in game and competitively, and yeah, it's always great. Just, like you said, just spam Psybeam till you learn Psychic, and then by that point, yeah, you're good to go. So Espeon's good. And with that, all that's left is to say what we have to say about the type itself. So for me, I never acknowledged the overpoweredness of Psychic type until like much later when everyone knew, because like I didn't pay attention to that kind of stuff back then. In retrospect, yeah, Psychic was way too good initially, so they had to nerf it and buff other types to accommodate for it. And I feel like in the process of that, over the years, Psychic kind of became underwhelming as opposed to the most overpowered. I feel like that they were going for Psychic to be overpowered. Like, I think that might have been their plan, because it feels like a lot of Psychic types are either, well, originally anyway, were either legendary mythical beings that were just so far above the regular creatures, or they were like magic, because like Pokemon has defined mechanics, I guess, but then it seems like some Psychic type Pokemon have magic as their psychic attribute, and I don't know how to explain it. It feels like I mentioned in the intro for this type, it just feels like half the Psychic type is actual mentally psychic abilities, but then others are like magic, and I've never really understood that. I think it's cool, but it's also kind of confusing. How do you feel about that, and what are your thoughts on Psychic?
Well, Psychic is one of my top 2 to 4 favorite types of all the types. Probably like 2 or 3, but I haven't decided that at this time. But yeah, I've always liked it. Generally, it's the high special attack. Oftentimes it's high speed, but those tend to be the better ones just because it's not a great defensive type. But then there are some that are really good being fat, like, Demush and Reuniclus, things of that nature. They always can do tricky things too, other than just like blast you with Psychic or Psyshock. but then they can also do other tricky things, disable and recover. And so, yeah, I mean, Psychic is and always has been really cool, and I have nothing.
Well, I guess that will be where we conclude day 8 of 12 days of Pokemon types. So look forward to day 9. Until then, I'm Elogee.
I'm Pocketing.
And we will see you then.